I firmly believe that one of the main reasons why a lot of us don't post very often on social media, or we think content is too hard, and frankly why a lot of businesses will outsource this to an agency to deal with, is because we don't really have clarity around why we have social media to begin with. Now, if you answer that by telling me that you're trying to sell more product or sell your services, you're already thinking of social media the wrong way. Welcome to part 2 of our 4-part video series, From Post to Profit, your step-by-step guide to social media success in 2025. My goal is that this is the only content plan that you will ever need. So my goal here for you today is to go over 5 different steps that you're gonna need in your content plan. You can use this as a formula every single month so that you can come back to the drawing board, you have a list to choose from, and it's really simple and really actionable that way. Social media is meant to be a connector to your audience, not an ad for your business. So the number one thing we need to do is take a step back, and if you've been approaching social media as this place where you just post pictures of the work you've done, we need to change the mindset and start talking to and with our audience rather than talking at them and just showing them pretty pictures. Social media is not there for you to sell, although doing it the right way can be very effective. But the first thing we need to do is create value to our audience. This is a place to try to build a connection, build trust, create friends online. And from that, you're gonna see not only the growth, but you're also gonna see conversions over to your website. I'm a brand and marketing strategist and the founder of Treya Digital. We're a boutique marketing agency in Austin, Texas, helping small business owners stand out online. There are 3 specific phases that you need to take your audience through within your marketing. First and foremost, we're gonna start with engage. Think the top of the funnel. This is about attracting as many eyeballs to you as possible in your target audience. The second phase is our nurture phase. This is once we've got them hooked and interested, we need to nurture that relationship. And this is where a lot of businesses fall flat with their social media. And finally, close. This is that conversion over to a landing page that drives conversion, drives sales for your business. So we need to think about all 3 phases in order to maximize your social media to the best of its ability. The first step of this 5-step framework is our content pillars. This is going to be our overarching high-level vision of our social media. I think a lot of people think about these pillars as topics or categories like sales, marketing, and social media. There's so many things inside of each one of those topics that it's really hard to nail down what you're going to be talking about. I have 3 questions that I want you to ask yourself that are going to help you nail down the things that matter to your audience, and it gives you a little bit more guidance than just thinking about a topic or a category. Number 1, what do I want to be known for? What does my brand want to be known for on social media, but also the brand identity? This is really going to reflect your brand strategy, so please make sure that you have that mapped out before taking a step further into this content plan. But if you do have that, think about this area as your core expertise. For example, if you're a lawyer, maybe your specialties lie within family law, maybe it's legal tips for businesses, maybe it's contracts. What is it that you really are good at and you can easily create content on really quickly and talk about for hours at a time? Number 2 is really important because it puts us in the perspective of our audience, and this is where we're going to drive value. What is it that my audience needs to learn or wants to see from me? Looking at your content from the lens of a person who's scrolling on social media, what is it that they care about? If you were a lawyer, it may be like, when is the right time to file for divorce? Or what are the things that I need in a contract? Or when do I need to get a contract for my business? This is why it's so important to think, first and foremost, before I start cranking out content, what is the expertise that I have? How can I talk about that? But also, what is it that they care about? Number 3 is the one I see a lot of business owners not taking full advantage of. How can I build trust and connect authentically to my audience? Now, a lot of the time, this is going to be in the form of storytelling. This is going to be behind the scenes footage. This is going to be talking head videos where you get on camera and talk about yourself, your expertise, all of that. This is going to be where you share your team and different events that you're going to build camaraderie and build trust with the people that you are talking to on social media. Now that you have that, you've got what is your core expertise, what do they need to learn from you, and how can I build trust? You should have about 3 different areas to talk about within your business. And I want you to put these on a piece of paper up at the top as like the 3 core things that your business, your social media is going to revolve around. Now, step number 2 is where we talk about a monthly content theme. I like a content theme because it can reflect what what season you're in, and you can make it timely for the season. But also, the important thing here, and what I really love about a content theme, is it's value-based. No one's really gonna know what your content theme is for the month. This is just gonna guide you in organizing your thoughts, what kind of angle that you wanna talk about things with. Easy one is like January. January is that new year, new me time for everyone. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. I prefer to think about what your core values are as a company. What is it that you really believe in? What do you stand for within your company? You should be able to come up with a couple different themes. And this is probably where I'll use like ChatGPT to help me. For example, I gave it all of my values and the things that I want my business to stand for, like female empowerment, bold ideas, standing out, all of that. And the first one I thought of was clarity creates momentum. Clarity can mean a lot of things. This can be clarity in your branding. This can be clarity in your social media. This is clarity in sales, right? And conversion. So I'm taking that theme, and from that, I'm able to use all of these different content pillars that I have and talk about it from that lens, right? Explaining more, creating clarity by simplifying things for you. So I hope that that makes sense. Remember, these can be seasonal, these can be value-based, and you may be changing them throughout the year. Number 3, this is where we start going from like that monthly view into more of a weekly view. So now what I want you to do is think about all the pain points or the struggles that your audience is having. Why is it that they're going to choose to work with you and give you their money? I personally like my pain points to be written in first person so that I can feel like they're talking to me. For example, I don't know how to use social media to drive sales for my business. That would be a pain point that they're having. And ideally, you're going to have 4 different pain points that you can easily speak to. Each one of these pain points will be for a different week of the month. So 4 weeks in a month, 4 pain points of the month. Each week, you're going to take that one pain point that you have. And this is where we go into the next step. Number 4 is where we decide on our content formats and the style. I'm a firm believer in do what feels natural for you and what you're going to be consistent doing. So I do make a point to make this a step because so many people try to copy what they see online, even though that doesn't feel very natural to them. Instead, make social media work for you. Look internally and figure out what is it that you are comfortable doing, what's easy to shoot and edit, so that way you can do this every single week and it doesn't feel like the biggest setup. But there are 4 different formats that I think are extremely important to include. Savable content is things where people are saving for future reference. They are important enough that, oh, that's a good idea. I don't want to lose this piece of content. I'm going to come back to it. I've noticed that the things that people want to save the most usually tend to be educational. Maybe there's graphs or there's a formula or there's something unique that you provide that other people don't provide. For example, this video is like my 5-step content framework. This is a personalized formula for creating content. You're probably going to want to save this and come back to it later so that you can have this top of mind and learn from it. There's so much educational content out there right now, and I really want our content to be things that aren't Googleable or ChatGPTable. So what that means is that these are topics that take it a step deeper, provide a unique perspective that they can't get, right? Instead of those basic 3 tips to do this. Number 2 is shareable content. On Instagram, shareable content is going to weigh more heavily than any other action that someone's going to take on your post. So we really want to make sure this is a focal point in our strategy. Shareable content is that stuff that you're like, you have to see this. This is so interesting or so funny or so valuable that we need to share it with either a friend, a family member, a colleague. If you make a post and you look at it, would you send this over to a friend? Sometimes that could also be the relatable category, which is our 3rd type of format. Relatable content is that stuff that says, oh my God, me too. That's so me. You know exactly what I'm thinking. That is the relatable content. A lot of times you see this in more of that funny content. Maybe it's a meme. Sometimes this can be shareable content because people might send this to a friend because it's so funny. So that's kind of where those 2 can blend into the same thing. Just make sure that you have 4 different posts that all have a different goal in mind. The last one that we want to focus on in terms of format is the personal. This is that element of building trust. This is that element of building a connection with our audience. Now, personal can be really whatever you want it to be. It does not have to be like you're showing them your house or you're taking them in the day in the life. But what I think about this is how we do it. Let me pull back the curtain and show you this is what we've done in the past. This is how I decorated my office if you're an interior designer. This is how we created our contract for our law firm. So this is that format where you can really showcase yourself, your personality. This is where you can can even throw that element of selling to your audience. The last part of step 4 is the style. I included this kind of after a few revisions of this framework because I felt like we were missing this. A lot of people look at trends and they try to copy what they've seen other people do that was successful. Trends can be here today, gone tomorrow. We want to look at a style of video. Find something that works with your flow, what's easiest for you to do every single week. Do you like voiceovers where you don't have to show your face and you're just putting some B-roll together and you're talking to your microphone? Or do you like to do infographic carousels, just easier for you to do because you don't really have to talk to the camera and show your face? Or maybe you really like the talking head because you can just put a microphone up and just talk for a minute, right? And that's super easy for you to do. Everyone has a different preference, and that's why I wanted to include this, because you do want to keep that in mind and work with what you have and what you're comfortable doing instead of trying to fit a mold that you believe needs to be perfect on social media. This step 5 is really where we decide how we're going to be delivering our content. And I really wanted to think from the lens of AI and people creating a lot of AI content. What are the things that make people stand out online? First things is storytelling. That is a huge trend right now across Instagram, and I really want to make sure that that's a focal point. These help stop the scroll because it immerses someone into a story that you're telling. And if you're really good at storytelling, this could be a really good way to nurture your audience. Things like controversial opinions, that's another thing that if someone comes across that and they don't agree with what you're saying, they're going to let you know in the comments. So that just increases your engagement. And lastly, educational content. Again, content that isn't Googleable, something that adds a unique perspective is always going to be useful, especially if you're in a line of work where you are charging a lot of money for your services and you are an expert in your field. These are the 3 that I've seen the most successful on Instagram or most short form platforms. For a quick overview, we've got number 1, we're going to define our content pillars by answering those 3 questions to really get a sense of what our core expertise is, what our audience wants to learn, and how are we going to build trust. Number 2, we're going to choose our monthly content theme. This could be around a seasonal perspective, or these can be value-based and value-driven. Number 3, we're going to choose 4 pain points that our audience is struggling with, and we're going to try to answer them within our content. Number 4, we're going to decide on the content formats and the style of video that you want to create. And number 5, we're going to take all of those formats to decide what is the delivery method. If we want to do a storytelling angle, do we want to do a controversial angle, or do we want to do an educational angle? I really hope that that helps. Again, this framework is really meant to be a structured formula for you to follow every single month. We want to create the strategy first, and then the execution comes later. What I recommend is setting aside a couple hours, maybe once a month before the month starts, and answering these questions for yourself. Creating the content is still a different ballgame, right? It's still going to require some time, some energy, some effort, maybe having a person or two that helps you with editing and filming. But if you are interested in learning more about those services from us, please contact us at the link below. Schedule a discovery call with us. We can do a social media audit, and I can see what you currently have on your account and how we can improve your content. Thank you so much, you guys, and stick around for the next video. The next video is all about organic reach strategies. I know a lot of people feel like they have to rely on ads in order to drive audience members over to their account and get eyeballs. So we're going to talk about some organic ways that you can do that so that you can get seen by more people. Thanks so much, you guys, and talk to you next week.